All right, let's get going. And we have another amazing guest today for Go Boss TV during our coronavirus series that is meant to help you transform and get ready for the year to continue after the break. Today we have Naledi Mashego. She is founder and MD of Cherry Republik, amongst other businesses. And the reason why we wanted to chat to Naledi is because a post has been circulating that says that companies such as Uber, Airbnb, WhatsApp, Slack, the companies that were founded 2018 to 2008 to 2010 during that recession. And the person was basically saying that there are many other amazing businesses that will be founded out of this slowdown. So we thought, why not speak to a digital guru to give us insights and heads up how to build digital brands, because it seems like digital is the future. Thank you for joining us, Naledi, at such short notice. Please introduce yourself and tell the viewers what you do and, the magic thing that you have.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me, guys. And so I'm Naledi. I'm the founder of Cherry Republik. The business is all about digital marketing. So we do website development, graphic design, and social media content management. So that's us in a nutshell. I am the only founder of the business, and we are currently in our 5th year.
Wow, 5th year already. That's awesome. And so how old were you when you started it, Naledi? You look like a baby.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I was 25. So I actually turned 30 at the end of last year. And so 5 years in the game. And I'm glad I'm still here 5 years later.
So what made you go into starting your own digital agency? Is that what you studied? Was it a passion? Did you grow up on digital?
So interesting enough, I did marketing, but I always felt like the print and advertising space was changing. But in South Africa, we hadn't all adapted to social media. So when I started, it was still quite far into corporate, and people were resistant. They were like, we don't need a Twitter account. But people soon eventually decided that it's quite important, and they started getting on board. So I decided to go digital because I felt this is the new direction where marketing's heading. And that's how the business started. So it's been a passion of mine.
Did you have corporate experience before starting your own business?
No. Well, I guess it'll be called corporate experience. I actually used to work in the music industry. So I used to work at Trace TV. So I did do marketing there, but it was so different because that was more programming and dealing with channel ratings and viewership. So that's where I actually had my first corporate experience. But luckily it was also quite a fun environment. It wasn't as serious and it had its perks.
So what is digital marketing? Is digital marketing just social media, Facebook, Instagram? What is digital marketing?
So digital marketing, I would say it's a very broad category because it's basically marketing online, but with a strategy. So I always say there's different levels to the whole marketing digitally, but I'd also say it is just focusing on online platforms, and we engage with them every day, and then deciding which platform works best for the message you're trying to convey and the customers you're trying to reach. And that would be my definition of digital marketing.
Okay, so what is the main difference to the normal, what they call above the line marketing? Is there a difference, or has it all now become sort of like one thing that's merged?
It's still different because below the line marketing is more of your activations and promotions, and above the line is more so the stuff that we're also doing digitally, things that people see visually that's not on the ground by actual people. So that would be the main difference. And while we just focus a lot more on the online, so what people are physically consuming on Instagram, Facebook, and all the different visual platforms.
So do you think a business can a business survive in South Africa in 2020 purely being running off of a digital marketing strategy? Or do you still have to complement it with billboards, magazine ads, TV ads?
I think personally, based on what we do, I feel like you can go 100% digital and you can still get your message across, because the reason being, digital is also cheaper and you can reach more people, unlike having the typical billboard. Billboards, it's also hard to check who's seen it, what are you reaching your target market, and we all know the cost of billboards are quite high. Whereas a Facebook ad, if you have a small business and you, let's say you have a budget of 200 Rand a month and you spend that on advertising, you can actually reach your target market at a minimum fee. And it's basically nice to know that it's available for everyone, and it's not just you have to have a certain amount of money to be able to market it. So that's the plus with digital.
Yeah, and I guess that's what digital has done. It's democratized and made it easy for people to start businesses and to be seen. Yeah, I still find, Naledi, that there are, but I still find like that there are people who you can't reach online in South Africa. So how do you then, what is your best way? How do we complement that? How do we reach the people who aren't online? But let's say we are a digital native business. How do we reach those people? How do you advise on that?
Digital native.
No, let's say I'm a digital native brand. So, I mean, I've seen quite a few South African businesses that are digitally native. They make up businesses. But let's say they want to reach someone who ordinarily doesn't spend their time online, on social media or anything. How else do they reach that person?
So I always say people always communicate in different ways. So there's other strategies that people have used, which is still digital marketing. So you can actually have like people who don't actually, let's say they don't buy data, but they have a phone. We can do like a SMS marketing campaign. That's still considered digital. And another smart way is having a hotspot. So when people do access free Wi-Fi, they can actually see the message you're trying to communicate. And then there's also the digital screens that are placed in taxis and different platforms. So it always just depends on what your goal is and how you actually want to execute that.
Yeah.
Some of the advertising costs are quite high for different things, like the taxi advertising and so forth.
Yeah. And so what do you find if you're advising, because we have product brands, we have services brands, and now we're seeing the rise of personal brands, like in the form of influencers. What are the 3 top advices you give in terms of generating leads? What should people do? Unequivocally, they have to do this to have a successful digital marketing campaign.
My first tip would be consistent. So if you're someone who posts 2 times a week, maintain that so that people always know, okay, if I follow this person, they'll always be giving me info or content that I like. So it's be consistent. If you can, try and make sure that your content is like clean, and that doesn't mean it should be stock image looking or too perfect, but try and get a camera that's of a good quality, because people also like to see a real picture. It doesn't always have to be perfect, but just have good images. And I'd say know who you're talking to, because if you understand your target market, you'll also understand which platform you need to be on. So you don't need to be on every single platform that's digital, but you want to focus on which platform works for you and build a community and a following around that platform. And that will lead you to a lot of success.
And you mentioned to be consistent, but is it feasible to build a brand by, let's say, posting twice a week? What is the minimum you should be posting, considering that there are algorithms, blah, blah, and all of that?
Yeah. So it's a combination of quite a lot of things. So what you do is you have to make sure you're posting like quite consistently. So if you decide twice twice a week is a good minimum. I'd say 3 times a week. 3 times a week is like a good average. And what you should also do is, if you're looking at a specific platform, so I'll use Instagram as an example because that's the influencer platform currently. And so on a platform like Instagram, you'd have to post 3 times a week. Then your content needs to be quite good, like people must enjoy what you're sharing, and you need to engage with people because the algorithm for Instagram changes basically about every 2 to 3 months. So they monitor, are you doing Instagram live? Are you commenting on people's pictures? Are people commenting on your images? Are you actually doing Instagram stories? So Instagram wants to see that you're using the platform holistically, and that also helps promote your page. So they are making it harder, but it's definitely a lot of work, but it's worth it when you get the results. So they look at all those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of us just prefer posting a picture once every week or 2 weeks. We hardly do stories, let alone lives. Okay, now we know. Especially for those who are trying to become influencers, I guess that's very important to know. And then what about email marketing? I get a lot of emails from especially American brands, and I get an email almost daily from them. How do you find email marketing working in South Africa? Is that a thing we should be doing as businesses or as influencers or brands?
I definitely think so. Because with marketing, you want to have different touch points. So some people might get to know you from your Instagram page or your LinkedIn page or your newsletter. So it's nice to have those gateways so people get a feel for who you are, what you're about. So email is always good, especially for like a B2B market. So if you're an influencer and you want to connect with brands, for example, it would be great to have a newsletter that goes out to like the marketing managers, and you just tell them what you're up to, but you don't sell. Like you shouldn't say, hey, please feature me with your product. No, you want to just share some useful tips, because if you create content that helps people are more likely to remember you and want to see more. That people are tired of being sold to. So newsletters are so good for that type of platform. It depends on what you're doing and what the strategy is, because some people would rely solely on newsletter marketing and send them frequently. But if you're someone who's an influencer, it would make sense to just send maybe once a month a little recap and touch base on, if you're a beauty influencer and hair, you talk about your favorite product of the month, why you love it, why people should use it. So it's all about what you say and how you say it, because you also don't want to become the annoying email that gets like spammed. So you want to just be relevant, share useful information, and be top of mind. So it's very good for top of mind.
Yeah. So you should always want to share valuable information. People should look forward to learning something new through that.
Yes.
And that brings me to like databases. How important it is, because it's easy for a brand that's grown off of Instagram to not capture databases and a database of emails or numbers. How important is that for a brand or a business to have?
That's so important. That's the one thing you need to always keep monitoring, because at some point you might develop your own product, or you might have your own event, or you just want to know who you're actually talking to. So it's great to capture that information, because you can always use that later to actually say to brands, for example, if you're a hair influencer, hey guys, I have 1,500 people that actually I interact with on a regular basis. So therefore, if you do this and this, let's say a birthday party or a hair event, the brands are more willing to actually collab with you, because you're holding the data which they want to access. So once you share an event, at least the people you're talking to will definitely pitch, because you've built that connection and following. And brands want that. People who are authentic and have a proper following, and not just likes, because likes don't always lead to conversion. So you actually want to have engaged followers. So a database is key, and it's important to just start growing that. So maybe by running a competition and people have to give their email, name to sign up or something like that. But try always build your database. So important.
Yeah. Yeah, because obviously we get a lot of girls who want to be influencers inboxing us, and they're always inboxing us how many followers they have and whatever. And I've just become a bit skeptical of those kind of measures to say that this person would actually be able to influence or convert these people. Okay, and then another thing I wanted to ask is the rise of WhatsApp marketing. What's the best way to approach marketing on WhatsApp?
WhatsApp is an interesting one because it's quite new, so that's exciting. So therefore, right now we can try and do many things. I always say with WhatsApp marketing is you want to make it once again also something people want to engage with instead of just an advert. Because if we think about us in our personal capacities, when we see something that's funny or something we can relate to, we automatically share it to like those 5 people who are close to us. So I always say you want to create content like that instead of when we get those messages, call this number and buy this. Be like, okay, whatever. So it's a great platform, and I think it's going to go definitely bigger. It's going to be interesting because there's also still some restrictions with sharing, because as you know, you can only share to 5 people. You can forward a message to 5 people at a time. But I think it's also going to be it'll test authentic brands and authentic messaging. So those are the brands that will thrive.
Yeah. And then what would you say to young women in terms of starting a business? Why are you such an advocate for entrepreneurship?
I'm a strong believer in we can do it because I find there's so few, and you know as well, so few females that actually start businesses. And I think maybe we were told like it's a man's world, and or in my case there weren't a lot of female entrepreneurs in my family. So I just want to show people that it's possible. It's not easy, especially in times like this. You are truly challenged, but once you actually persevere and stick through it throughout the years fly by, and you actually realize, oh my gosh, wow, I've actually achieved so much. But I think the main core message is it's possible, and it just starts with one step at a time, because I didn't get here overnight. The past 5 years, you don't forget the challenges you go through, but I think taking the leap, I'm glad I did, because now I can actually show other women that if your idea is not silly, you need to go out there, try it, adjust it, and you'll come out at the end like feeling good and actually achieving something for yourself. So that's my main message.
Yeah, because you've started a number of businesses, right? So how do you go about assessing whether this idea is worth pursuing or not? What are your tips in terms of assessing whether this is an opportunity worth pursuing, or even just identifying that opportunity?
My first thing is, if you don't have clients, you don't have a business. So that's one thing I truly believe in. So when I start a business, if I don't have clients, it's clearly not working. Or it just means I need to reassess. So I'll start, have a few clients. If I do, great. If there's no one biting, I know that clearly I've created something no one wants. So you also need to know when to call it quits. I've had things that didn't work. Everyone's tried. You have to try different things. But I think for me, that's my first measure. And then once I can tell, oh, there's momentum and people actually want this, then I can go and say, okay, how do I improve this? Or what's working, what's not working? Then you can grow from there. But if you sit and you only just work on the business plan, but you don't go out there and actually physically try it out, it's not a business till you have clients. That's what I personally believe.
But how did Cherry Republik differentiate itself from? Because a lot of the times, I think you're competing with the big advertising companies right now. How do you differentiate yourself and get the big clients that you have?
I would say it's also the people in the business. So I find what I do is I go and I sell us as Cherry Republik, because we are a digital agency, we're competing with the big guys, but what we do is different. When we have a client, we do treat them like you're the only client we have, and we make sure we have a personal relationship with them, and we try and make sure that that's not lost as we grow. And I feel like that's also a big differentiator sometimes when you are a smaller business. Like, for example, some of my clients will know which designer designed their actual design, and they'll ask like, oh, how's so and so doing. I feel like that human touch is sometimes missing, and we just need to keep maintaining it, because that's what's let us grow this size so far. I think that's our unique touch.
Yeah, awesome. And also, I see that in South Africa at the moment, a lot of the private funds a lot of entrepreneurs are obviously complaining about not being able to raise money, to start businesses. And I see that a lot of the private funds, quite a few of them are looking for businesses in the tech space. What are the opportunities in tech right now? What are the trends in tech in Africa that present an opportunity for people to look into, in your opinion?
There's a lot of opportunity, and like what I'm also picking up is we need to solve African problems. So if you're gonna start something, you need to start your business is solving a problem. So it's always best to start with what you know and what challenges we locally have. There's a brand, I think it's Mama Africa or Mama Money. They're actually it's a tech company that started sending money from South Africa to Zim. And it's like identifying things like that, because we all know this type of stuff happens. People support their family. So identify the opportunity and see how you can actually be part of the solution. So I think definitely have a look at your environment and what you can improve, and then take it from there.
Yeah. No, awesome. No, you're absolutely right. I recently came across an app. It's an Uber, but for people with vans and trucks and stuff like that. So if I'm moving from, like, let's say, Fourways to Rosebank, I can just call. I can't remember what it is, but it's something that's unique to us. We are the ones that have people who have vans and trucks that they hire out, and they solve a simple problem. Naledi, thank you so much for spending time with us. And maybe the last question, one of the last few questions. Actually, I still have a few questions. Being in the current lockdown situation that we're in as businesses, brands, and most of us unable to sell, even if you have an online store, you can't deliver if you're not essential. So what should we be doing? Should brands, businesses still be advertising, marketing?
I totally think this is a time for brands to still be marketing. I do also think be sensitive to what's happening. Like, we can't be naive to the situation, but it is a good time for brand awareness, because the thing is, I don't feel we'll be locked down forever, but you still want to be top of mind. So as soon as the lockdown has been removed and we're out there, you want to know that people have actually seen your brand and interacted with it. And also, we're all at home on our laptops, on Netflix, on YouTube. So this is such a great time for people just to get brand awareness.
Yeah. Another one I didn't ask you specifically, YouTube. YouTube, I think a lot of us use it to create content, but very few of us, if you're not a big brand, actually does advertising or marketing there. What is your take on YouTube in a South African context, in a small business context?
YouTube's good, depending on what you're actually advertising. It's also a tricky one, because if you're going to go make a YouTube ad, you need to make sure it's very good. So now the latest trend is the ad sequence needs to be catchy up front, and then you can drop your product at the end. So those trends always change, because we always just look at how many people are watching the full 9 seconds or 7 seconds of the video. And the trend report said, you need to have a really catchy video. So I would stick to the other platforms if I'm a smaller brand, because video production is also very expensive, unless it's a skill you can have in-house or for free. Definitely explore it, edit your own videos, but follow the sequence of start off with a bang, and then like saying what the product does, and then the product at the end. That works well.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. All right, and then our last question is around influencers. I think influencers are a game changer, and it's a great way for any girl of any age to gain independence and make money. So, what's your advice? Your top 3 tips to someone trying to position themselves as an influencer? Just to say what my pet peeve is when approached by influencers. I absolutely do not want to work with an influencer that states that, their bio profile or whatever states I'm an influencer. So that's my pet peeve, but maybe it works. I don't know. What are your top 3 tips for someone trying to build themselves as an influencer brand?
So I think my first thing would be you need to start and pick a field. So do you want to do beauty, or do you want to do travel, or just pick something, like one niche, then start off with that. Because like we also spoke about, you don't want to have someone talk to you about, let's say they're doing food, then the next day they try to sell workout gear. It's a bit weird. So be authentic. So if you are focusing on hair products, like try not to partner with every single hair brand that delivers stock to you. Like actually choose stuff that you really like, because people can see when you're authentic or you just become, I don't want to say this because we have a very brand people who like all brands but have no opinion. So people can actually see that you want to be authentic and like what you like and don't like what you don't like. People also like that when you're like, I tried it but it's not for me, because people appreciate that. Not everybody can like everything. And then I think the third one would then be the common one. Be consistent. So consistency is key. So keep creating the content, keep engaging with people, and use the platform holistically. So if you're doing Instagram, do the Instagram stories, lives, comment on people, talk to other influencers who are doing what you're doing on the platform, because there's people who are bigger than you when you're starting up, and there's people who are at the same level. So you guys can actually create like Instagram groups, and you guys like each other's posts and support each other, because that also helps the algorithm. So it's a lot of work, but it's worth it.
Yeah, but then on that, and I think this also relates to brands. In your experience, what you see, what gives brands longevity? What gives, whether it's an influencer brand or a product brand, what gives it longevity? What can keep you in business for the next 5 to 10 years? What do you think that is? Why would an influencer still be influential 5 years, 10 years from now?
I think the world's going towards authenticity. That is still the key. People don't want to be seen as numbers or like customers. People want to feel like they're heard and they're connected to you. So I'm finding this whole it's business and it's cold, that approach is disappearing in all fronts. So it's not just only on the digital side, it's also like in the corporate spaces. People now are worrying about how do you feel, what's happening at home. The approach now is it's holistic. So let's not just focus on getting our product out there and selling. Let's understand you and where you want to go. I think authenticity is key.
Yeah. It has to be now your brand DNA, authenticity. Thank you so much, Naledi. I am no doubt inspired, and I have a lot to think about and restructure. Thank you so much for sharing. And how can people find you? Your website, your Instagram handle?
Yeah. So basically, okay, I think I'll give my business one and my personal one. I'll share both. So for our company, Cherry Republik, it's cherryrepublik.com online, and all our social medias, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram, it's at Cherry Republik, and Republic with a K. And my personal social media, instead of a C, it's a K. And my personal social media, it's that Naledi, and that's for Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, you can find me at Naledi Mashego.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, girl. And I have no doubt we'll be calling on you again sometime soon.
Yes, likewise. Thanks for having me.